Hello, my name is Richard Tamai. I'm the pastor of God's Army. Today I want to talk about how God is raising up an army throughout the world. You know, unless you're out there really looking for the signs, you're not going to see them. But here are a couple of signs so you can understand. In the Atlantic paper in Montgomery, Alabama, the title was "Using Christianity to Fight Crime." And I'm going to read a little piece. Billy Irving, a popular Christian radio preacher, took the pulpit in Montgomery City Hall. And what his idea was to take Christians to go out into crime-ridden areas and use Christianity to fight crime. Now, what am I talking about? And this was in 2013. It's about September 27th, 2013. That's when this article came out. This is when God or this preacher was talking about this. God's Army that I started in basically came out in 2003, but started in 2005, was the same aspect. It's about taking ex-military or prior law enforcement guys and wearing this uniform and taking to the streets of crime-ridden areas and using Christianity to fight crime. Preaching the gospel and getting to the core where Satan has a hold on its people. We have a lot of different signs out there. God's army is everywhere. God is going to start a revival, and it's going to be an army. It's not just going to be about preaching the gospel, but taking authority into the streets, into cities that don't have God in the center core of it. We have another organization which is called, let me see if I'm correct, it's called Walk a While. It's out in Australia. And they want to put a cross on this big mountain in the center of Australia so that it could be a beacon of light to everybody about God, Jesus, and Christianity. They're in the process of raising funds to get this big cross put up on a mountain. Now, I'm not talking just like the cross that I put up, which was 15-foot cross. I'm talking a huge, huge cross in the center core of a mountain where the indigenous people that are Christians are praying for God to come forth with the funds so that they can do this. Now, this preacher for Walk a While in Australia was talking about an army coming forth to raise up the cross on a mountain. That's an army raising up a cross on a mountain. In 2005, that's when we started this ministry. Now, this place in Australia, it wasn't too far long ago that they started this. Maybe about 3 years ago, they started talking about an army raising up a cross on a mountain. Then you have God's Army in South Africa. It's a cafe. It's called God's Army. And you got an owner that's flooded this whole store with items that glorify Jesus. People come in there, they drink coffee. The owner sits at the counter reading the Bible. God's army. God is raising up an army, and he's speaking to different people all around the world so that they can speak, like Billy Irving, a popular Christian preacher, a radio talk show host, talking about raising up an army, Christianity to fight crime. The signs are out there. There's also another organization. It's called Revelation in the News. And you'll see a speaker by the name of Zach Drew. D-R-E-W. Zach Drew. And he's got like a little bit of a media show. And they're preaching the gospel, and they're preaching about signs that are taking place. And they're talking about how the UN, the United Nations, and this government is implementing a plan to take in and police eventually what would be Christianity. Policing Christianity. Can you believe that? They're fearful. You see, they're talking about the UN being a more of an Islamic nation, infiltrating into the UN. They're trying to control Christianity. Let me tell you something. I didn't leave the police department 7 years shy of a 20-year pension when God called me and said, I've protected and served the city well, and he wanted me to protect and serve his kingdom. His kingdom are his people. And if the people of God are being persecuted, arrested, murdered, and silenced for preaching the gospel of Jesus, then God has an army that's going to rise to protect and serve his kingdom. God has laid in my heart to raise up an army of men and women, Christians with military and law enforcement background, to go to the nations, those that are persecuting, murdering, arresting, and silencing Christians for preaching the gospel. We are going to go into that nation, into that territory as an army and represent those people. We can't just sit back and watch the news as Christians are out there being persecuted, as we sit back in America, nice and comfortable in air-conditioned churches, and not take to the streets. I need your support. Go to supportgodsarmy.com, make a donation, or join God's Army. Get these shirts that we're selling on godsarmyshirts.com. Buy the shirts, buy the patch, and support and fund God's Army's mission. God bless.